Welcome to Cory's Stories. Are you ready to meditate with Cory?
Hi, my friend. I wanted to just jump in for a quick minute just before you listen to your story and say, if you love Heidi and Cherry and you love Tucker and Leo and you think you would like to be in one of their clubs, go to the link below my video and you can join the Cat Club or the Tucker and Leo Club, or you can join both the clubs called Raining Cats and Dogs. It's a club where you get 3 or 5 or 2 exclusive stories every month that are sent to you, and you get to have your name mentioned in those stories. If that's something that you want, then talk to your guardians, your mom, your dad, your auntie, your grandma, whoever it is that helps to take care of you, and ask them if you can join the cat club or the dog club. Okay, enjoy my story. I love you so much. Bye. Bye.
Are you ready to meditate with Cory? Make sure that you're laying still in your bed. You're allowing yourself to relax your body, to let go of your busy day, so that you can relax and hopefully fall fast asleep as you listen to the story. Tucker and Leo had gone over to Heidi, Cherry and Vaya's house. Vaya was in the kitchen. She'd just rummaged through the sugar bowl to find the dragon scale, the one that sent them into the Octagon, the dragon scale that if she rubbed with her paw would make them all instantly turn into dragons. They stared at each other, not one of them speaking right then in that moment. Vaya rubbed her paw over the white dragon scale that she'd found, and they were instantly flying in the sky. Without any pre-planning or communication between the 5 of them, Heidi was already in the lead. And just as always, the rest of the pack of dragons followed behind her, not questioning where she was going, why she was at the front, and what this was all about. By now, this was the 7th time that they'd been to the Octagon, the place where there was 8 sections. 8 sections to a land far, far away. They'd visited Dixon Lands. That was Vaya's section. They'd seen Steel City, Tucker's section. They'd visited Leo's part of the Octagon, which was called the Desert Sand Dunes. And then Cherry. That's when they visited the Fire Islands. And then Winston. The last time they visited Winston, the new kitten in the family. They visited his section, the Sapphire Grid. Obviously, today was all about Heidi. Heidi seemed very determined as she flew through the clouds, in and out. The rain had started to pour down on them, but none of them noticed. Why would a dragon care about the rain? They soared through the sky. Powerful, determined, somehow knowing exactly where they were going. After a while, Heidi started to descend, heading to a place that looked very, very lush and green. None of the places that they'd been so far in the Octagon looked like this. It looked like they were flying down towards the Amazon. So much fauna, so much life. As they got closer, the rain stopped and the air around them got hot. and sticky. It was palpable. It really did feel as if they were landing into a jungle. They all landed on a bare piece of land. No trees in that section, no bushes, just land beneath their feet. That's when Heidi just went into action. She turned around and looked at her friends, and her friends peered back at her, and as dragons, it was an interesting feeling. Heidi noticed that when she looked into the eyes of Cherry and Vaya and Tucker and Leo, they were no longer cats and dogs, obviously, but also the spirit inside of them was different. It was like looking into a different person, a different creature completely. And they all played very different roles in this land. Very, very different. They were dragons after all. Heidi instinctively started to tap her left back leg. She was banging on the ground. Very, very determined. The others just watched at this point. It was as if she knew instinctively what to do, as if every time she came here, this is what she did. This is what her role was in the Octagon, in the life here on this planet. She banged with so much power, and the earth beneath her foot started to crack open. And as it cracked open, it started to divide, split in two. The split, the crack got wider and wider, exposing the earth and the large, dark, deep space that was starting to form between the two parts of the land. The other dragons stepped forward to watch closer. And as Heidi stretched out her front claws, they started to grow. They started to expand. Her claws were grey and shimmery. Her claws were made of hematite. Hematite is a grey crystal, a particular type of crystal that stands for strength and stability. What was Heidi doing? Her nails extended longer and longer, pouring out like roots from her claws. They weren't curly, they were straight, powerful rods of crystal just growing out of her front claws. And as they grew, she dug them deep into the earth. And as the other dragons peered forward and peered down into the space, the deep, dark hole that had been created by the crack in the earth, they noticed that there was a grid underneath the earth, a grid of what looked exactly like hematite, crisscrossed like roots, intermingled and tangled within each other, forming a grid, a powerful hematite grid of roots underneath the surface of the earth. Heidi turned around and said, "This is underneath every single section of the Octagon. It's underneath yours." She looked at Tucker. "It's underneath yours." She looked at Leo. "It's underneath yours." She looked at Cherry. "This is my job. This is the Rooted Rivers section of the Octagon." Everyone just watched. The crystals that were coming out of Heidi's nails didn't stop. They would crack off, form a shape, part of the grid beneath the earth, and then, as if like magic, they would start pouring out of her claws again. She motioned for them all to come forward. She motioned for them all to direct their front claws into the grid. And they did. And they all had the same power. Their claws grew deep and deep and deep into the earth, forming the rooted rivers that supported the entire octagon because of the qualities of the crystal, which were strength and stability. Strength and stability, that was Heidi. Strength and stability, that was Heidi through and through. Her personality, just her demeanor, who she was as a cat. Heidi was very strong, very, very stable, and very rooted. So it made total sense that this was her part of the octagon. And her part was the fundamental grounding system of the whole octagon. She kept the octagon afloat. Her powerful hematite grid underneath the earth kept the whole place structured and safe. She supported the whole planet. How crazy is that? Cherry's eyes got really big. She was enjoying the fact that these crystals were pouring out of her claws. "It tickles a bit," she said. Everyone else was so focused. No one was speaking. They all just went into their roles. They seemed to do this for about 15 minutes. Heidi would walk to different places of the jungle and tap her feet, her back left foot especially, strong and forceful and determined, and the earth would crack open and they would start all over again, as if she was just there to maintain the structure of the rooted rivers below the planet. And she did it so well. She did it like Heidi would do everything. So accomplished, so smart, so knowledgeable. But now we know that Heidi is strong and stable as well. Seeming to know exactly when, Heidi stopped, and the rest of the dragons stopped what they were doing. Her claws retracted, and so did Leo's and Tucker's and Cherry's and Vaya's. And then she took flight in the sky once again. They flew over all the different sections that they'd visited so far, looking at the different colours down below, the white, the fiery lands of cherries, the golden deserts, the silvery black steel city of Tucker's, and the sapphire grid of Winston. They flew past them all. They flew high in the sky. They made formations in the sky as if they were playing now that the job was done. They lined up in a straight line and flew. They lined up in the shape of an arrow and flew. They lined up and shaped themselves into a circle and flew. And then they dipped in and out and below and above and around and all of it within each other, as if they were making shapes and patterns in the sky, until it was time. It was time to no longer be dragons. It was time to be back on their planet, on planet Earth. And as if, just like magic, thinking about that took them right back to where they needed to be. Back in their dog bodies and cat bodies. Tucker and Leo went home. Heidi, Cherry, and Vaya went upstairs. They showered off their day, brushed their teeth, and ended up going and laying on the big, soft, comfortable cat bed until they eventually fell fast asleep. The end.